What's up, my friends in football fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching? Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Big day for us, Tex. Big day for us. We finally hit it. We finally hit 500 subscribers on the nose. So now comes what we've been promising you guys. We're going to schedule a charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project. I am very, very happy. I'm very thankful to all 500 of you that have found your way to the channel. Hopefully we'll continue to grow. It's been a bit of a journey. I look at some channels and I'm just like, how do you make terrible videos and have 5,000 subscribers and a bunch of people watching? And how do I give you such great content with such aficionados of cinematic greatness like Tex and Jeremy and some other people that have come on here with us, and we grow so slowly. But you know what? I don't even care. I don't do this because I want to become a YouTube gazillionaire, although that would be nice. I do this because I really like coming on here and talking with my boys about shit like this. So yeah, one of the people that is very responsible for us reaching 500 is my host tonight. The straight from the Lone Star State, my man Tex. What's up, brother?
You know, whenever obviously we were live last night, and at the end of the show, and I apologize because it was it Charlie? I can't remember who the name was. Somebody had came in late and they had subscribed to us, and we thought he was 500. So we were like, hang on, wait for confirmation, And then he was only $4.99. But you know what? We got to finally to the 500 today, and I mean, obviously, you and I both know, along with Cora and Jeremy and everybody else that comes on, the work that, just alone in October, you've had 3 to 4 days a week in content from this one channel alone. It's, the work has been put in. It's been a lot of fun. It's taxing. It's not, you think it'd be easy to just come on and bullshit about football or movies, but, it takes work and effort, but we love it. And, we thank y'all for subscribing to us and sharing us. So, hey, get us to 1,000 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I cannot tell you how thankful I am for Cora and for Jeremy. Jeremy especially, who's been around since the beginning of this thing. This was kind of a brainchild that's been around between me, him, and Aaron for about a year and a half, and I finally just got the gumption to kind of get it together and do it. It was a bit of a slow start. Had trouble working YouTube into my life, but once we've been doing it regularly now on this channel, either by myself or with different groups of people for I think 3 or 4 years now that I've been trying to upload regularly, and it's been a bit of a struggle, but I'm glad that we finally hit this watermark. And really, I think this is just from an analytic standpoint, I think 500 is where YouTube will start to push you out a little bit more instead of having to pay for a lot of advertising.
I hope so.
Like the bar on the side for suggested videos and so on and so on and so on. So hopefully that'll be this will be where YouTube kind of kicks us into the stream a little bit and lets us helps us grow, just because once you get to that point they try to help. Obviously, the bigger your channel is, the more love they're going to show you because they make more money off you. But now I think we're finally to that point where YouTube's going to start putting us in the suggested feed a little more often. So hopefully that'll facilitate more growth, and we'll be able to come in here and talk about more movies, and it'll just be it's growth. I want the process to happen. That's all I really wanted from all this. But
it's a huge step, man. I'm grateful I got to be a part of the the road to 500. I know the hours I've put in, and I'm happy I did every bit of it. So it's all good.
Yeah, it was really hard watching all those Saw movies so you could break them down with Jeremy, huh? But I bet you struggled through. I bet you got to about the 4th or 5th when you're like, oh, why am I still?
I was like, I really don't want. Do I really have to watch all these nasty, gory, bloody movies? Yes, I do. Yes, the answer is yes. But if I was reviewing them or not, I was still going to watch them. I might as well be productive, right? So it's all good.
I'm so tired of all this boobs and murder. Just once, I want to watch. Just once, I want to watch Barbie. Yeah.
Oh no, another Halloween Michael Myers movie. How can I ever get through it? It is what it is.
Well, if I gotta.
Like I said, I'm happy to be here. So.
Yeah, it's been a ride, and we're gonna keep riding it out. I got into YouTube at a ripe old age of 45, and now I'm 47. So I mean, I started the game way late, so I'm coming in the third quarter here. I'm coming into the game kind of late. So really, I'm just trying to do this to have fun. I mean, I try to do things to make it grow, but I mean, ultimately, I'm never going to be a John Campia level 10,000, 15, 20,000 subscribers. I'm never going to get to that. So I'm just gonna try to grow it and see what I can do with it while I got it. You know what I mean? But
hey, I ain't looking to get rich. I just want to be happy. So good.
Well, can I be both? I mean, I want to be happy first.
Preferably,
rich.
But
I'm going for rich, but I'll settle for happy. You know what I mean? But but yeah. But let's get to what we're here to talk about tonight. Obviously, tonight, football night here on The Harsh Truth. I missed last week's, mainly because my balls were still hurting from that kicking that we got from the referees of the Browns game in Cleveland. But yeah, if you'll notice me drinking out of my Niner cup like I usually do, I'm drinking what's left of my own tears that I've been collecting for the last 2 weeks.
Every bit of pride that he had left is in that cup being watered down with the ice right now. So
yeah, ice and a little bit of Johnny Walker Red, because it softens the saltiness of the tears.
You ain't drinking alone, friend. That's all I'm saying. So it's all good.
Softens the saltiness of the tears. But I mean, let's get right to it. I mean, the first story tonight that we're going to talk about is the continuing struggles of the 49ers for 2 weeks in a row. The Niners suffer kind of a tough loss. I think this one tougher than the loss against Cleveland. There was a lot of stuff that goes into the loss against Cleveland. I'll go into that a little bit in a minute because I think it matters for this discussion here. But, I mean, what do you think the deal is with the 49ers right now? Is this just a good team having a tough stretch? Or do you think Purdy's been exposed like some people are saying? Or was it Debo not being around? Are they a little beat up? I mean, obviously, it didn't look to me like McCaffrey was hurting that much. I think he saw 120 scrimmage yards and a couple of touchdowns. But, I mean, what do you think is with the 49ers right now? Is it something that's fixable, or is it just – are they in a bit of a slide?
Well, I think it's a mix of both here. Obviously, Brock Purdy, prior to these two games, he hadn't lost a regular season game yet. And that was never going to last forever. I mean, I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did, to be honest with you. But like I said, I think it's a mix of Brock Purdy getting – eventually somebody was going to get to him, and it was just a matter of time. And secondly, look at the whole entire NFL. Almost everybody's predictions and projections have been off, wrong. This has been a crazy year. Look at the NFC right now. We've got teams like Minnesota that are dog crap, and Detroit that was, a 9-win team last year, that is one of the better teams in the NFC for the conference. So, realistically, this thing is up for grabs. You know, if a team goes out and makes a big blockbuster trade before the deadline, they could just run with the NFC. And I'm talking Dallas, San Francisco, Detroit. Any of them could do it right now. But as far as the Niners go, I watched the Cleveland game, and I think you had said this, I can't remember, but why are they leaning so much on McCaffrey? It seems like the schemes that they're working with and how they're operating, they're not spreading the ball out like they normally do with going to Kittle, going to Ayuk, or this guy, whatever. I think they're just in a rut. You know, a lot of teams are losing. You know, Dallas is losing, Minnesota's losing. You know, there's a good bit of teams that shouldn't be behind but are. I think the Niners are a team that can pull the nose up and straighten the ship out before the end of the season. Even with these two losses, I still think the Niners are probably the best team in the NFC. Look at the Eagles. Jalen Hurts looks confused behind that football right now. They don't look like this world beater that everybody thinks they are. So, you know, Brock Purdy's a young quarterback. This is only his, second year or whatever. If he's good, he'll pull himself out of this funk. Now, I will say, I bet the Niners regret trading Trey Lance when they did, because, you know, with him being out this week, they probably would have liked to have him back. But I think the Niners will be okay. I think Dallas will be okay as well. But, you know, it's just a rough part of the season, man. There's a lot of games left to be played.
Yeah, you know, I was at the game in Cleveland, and there was one thing that jumped out at me very early on in the game when the outcome of the game was still very much up in the air, very much in doubt. There was a lot of football left. Shanahan's play calling was too conservative. Everything was right up the middle with McCaffrey, and I was like, You've got Ayuk, you've got Kittle. Debo played most of the game. He ended up getting hurt. You've got some talented play. You got Juwan Jennings. You've got Ray McLeod. You've got Bell, the one receiver that I like so much. Why are you only giving the ball to McCaffrey? The whole point of having all these weapons is that you talk about, like in basketball, I talk about the big three in the NBA. It's like you can stop one of them, you maybe can stop two of them, but there's that other guy there that can just dominate. So when you have those big three, you've got like the big seven on offense in San Francisco. And the only play that Shanahan knew how to call that day was up the gut to McCaffrey. It's like, look, he's got a history of being injured, which concerned me when they traded for him, and I said so. I was like, you don't want to get his ass beat in week 5 in Cleveland. You want this guy to be in form when you hit week 18, 19, when you have to play for like home field advantage, and then you get in that first week of the playoffs and you're playing against these teams where it's win or go home. And I don't understand the McCaffrey centric offense. You have so many weapons there. Use them all. They can't. That's the whole idea. It's one of the things I've been saying about the Niners offense. What I like about it is I don't think anybody out there has a defense that can cover everybody. But you're not giving the ball to everybody. It's McCaffrey handoff, McCaffrey up the middle, McCaffrey on a jet sweep, McCaffrey out in the flat, McCaffrey on a deep middle route. It's like all they have to do is put all 11 guys in the defense around McCaffrey, and you're not going to do anything else. That was one thing that really bothered me about the Cleveland game. And then, of course, McCaffrey ends up with the oblique strain, which ended up not being a very big deal. Debo goes out with the shoulder injury, the rib injury, whatever he had. They kept him out this last week against Minnesota. But the other thing, obviously, with the Cleveland game was the officiating was terrible. It was terrible in both directions. I mean, early on in the game, there was a couple of penalties that were called against the Browns, and I even looked at the Browns fan that I was sitting next to. I was just like, yeah, that call was bullshit. That doesn't make sense to me at all. And then, of course, when the Browns hit, they had that long third down, they didn't convert. They called Gibbons for that, Gibbons for that targeting or whatever it was, that stupid penalty that everybody in the world said shouldn't have been a penalty. Whatever. And then, terrible, missed field. Look, before the missed field goal, that game was kind of a shambles anyway. I mean, it was officiated terribly. It never should have got to the point where either one of those teams was relying on a field goal. It should have been one on the field, and it wasn't. The referees kind of screwed that game. But the game against Minnesota, I have no excuses for. I mean, Niners just didn't play well. I didn't notice that they were as McCaffrey centric, although he's kind of the only one that put up like a killer stat line that whole game. But I think that was because he was just talented. He had a good matchup as a running back against a team that struggled against run games all year. So I think it was part of it. But I mean, still, what really got me is the big difference between the game against Cleveland last week and the game this week against Minnesota is that with the game on the line last week in Cleveland, Brock Purdy ran the Niners down the field and got them in position to win that game, which is his job. And so all the people last week that were saying Brock Purdy got exposed, it was like, exposed for what? He ran you down the field with 2 minutes and put his team in position to win. That's not being exposed. Just because he didn't throw a touchdown that drive doesn't mean you stopped him. They were lined up for the game-winning field goal. They just happened to miss it. That had nothing to do with Brock Purdy. He wasn't the holder. He wasn't the snapper. He wasn't the kicker. Brock Purdy's job was to get you in a scoring position or score. He got you in a scoring position. So that was not him being exposed. This last week, I mean, his accuracy in Cleveland I didn't think looked great. There was a lot of balls that he threw that I think should have been connected on, but they were kind of wildly overthrown. The interceptions obviously were not. Well, one of the interceptions I don't think was technically his fault. I think it was like a tipped ball or something like that. But I mean, the one that ended the game against Minnesota this week, it was terrible. I mean, it looked like some kind of crap that Garoppolo would have thrown when he got frustrated and kind of lost his way. And I don't understand that. So my gut reaction right now is the Niners are in a bit of a rut. They need to come together and figure it out. Look, even the best teams ever that have won a million games, that have gone on long win streaks, they have 3 or 4, and the Chiefs are bad at this. The Chiefs and Mahomes have this happen once a year, where they have like 2 or 3 weeks to where Mahomes' mechanics get a little off, his accuracy suffers, they don't look great, they might lose a game, and a lot of people think they should have won. I feel like that's what it is for the Niners. We're going to find out, obviously, on Sunday, because they play a decent Bengals team. It's not going to give them anything. Their offense is not. I don't think it's on par with the Niners, but it's definitely good enough to cause the Niners some struggles.
They're having an off year as well when it comes to Cincinnati, though. I mean, both teams are not doing what everybody expected them to.
Yeah, they're still a very capable team, though. Look, because I would have called
Right.
Minnesota a very capable team despite their record. I mean, they're in a lot of close games.
Right.
They're not getting blown out by anybody. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting to see how they react against Cincinnati. The other thing is the defense. Defense hasn't looked good for a couple of weeks. I mean, they didn't give up a lot of points against Cleveland a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they only lost that game 19-17, which is, that you would look at that and say it's a defensive struggle, but the reality is, I was there. They didn't get consistent pressure against the offensive line in Cleveland. They didn't get very good pressure at all the other night against Minnesota. No sacks for the first time in I don't know how long. Didn't sack Cousins once. I'm sorry, but that Minnesota offensive line is not that good. I mean, they had a good game as it turns out, but they're not one of the top 10 offensive lines in football. So I'm trying to figure out exactly how that happened, but Niners aren't getting pressure right now, and it's really odd to me because they've made all these signings. They went and got Gregory from Denver. They went and got Hargrave from Philadelphia. They went and got a bunch of these guys to stack up an already very good defense, and the defense wasn't there against Minnesota at all. So I don't really know what their plan is. There's still talks about making a big splash before the trade deadline, which is I think coming up. It's sometime this week.
I think it's on the 31st, right?
Yeah, I think 31st.
Yeah, it's on Halloween.
Yeah. So they're talking about another big splash, picking up another they're talking. I mean, I've heard rumors about getting Chase Young from Washington and things like that, and I'm like, that's great, but you went from scoring 30-something points a game down to not even scoring 20 in the last 2 games.
Well,
so I'm like, maybe you need to examine. So maybe your defense is at least keeping the other team from scoring a lot, but your offense seems to have trouble moving the ball and getting it across the goal line. I don't know. I feel like it's a rut, but we're gonna know pretty sure one way or another after the Cincinnati game whether that's a problem or not.
Well, I mean, one thing that I can say, I mean, the only Niners that I have on any of my fantasy teams, I have Brock Purdy, Ayuk, and Debo. And I have Ayuk and Debo on the same team and then Brock Purdy on a different one. There's no way I'd get 3 players from the same team on the same team. But one thing I've noticed is Debo hasn't gotten more than 10 points in like 4 or 5 weeks, I don't think. He has done nothing. Ayuk, he's just been slightly better. Brock Purdy, he got so bad, I had to pull him and put Trevor Lawrence in his place because he just wasn't scoring points fantasy-wise. And, obviously that translates to on-field as well. But, I kind of find it funny. Obviously the Cowboys and the 49ers, they're very similar. They were their records notwithstanding, they're 2 very talented teams that have a lot of potential. But this year, they haven't quite done what everybody thought they were going to do. Like I said, I still think they both make playoffs. I still say they both win their division. I may be crazy. Call me whatever you want. But I think the Niners are still better. I will freely admit that. But I do think they both make playoffs just because the NFC is so wide open, dude. I mean, it's like a team could go out and go trade for just an amazing cornerback from, I can't remember the guy's name out of Carolina that the Cowboys were talking about on the radio station. But, even Dallas is trying to make big moves. But the Niners and Cowboys, I think they will pull the nose up. But you know what? That's football. I mean, when it comes to Kansas City, they better hope Taylor Swift's in the crowd because if she's not there, they play like shit. So they better have her there every game. You know what I mean? But hey, it is what it is. What you gonna do? So.
Yeah, unless she can play tight end when Kelsey hurts his dink. I don't know what good she's gonna do. But I don't know what the deal is with the Niners. I mean, I thought that the Cleveland game was a bit of a fluky thing. Again, the officials kind of ruined the game for both teams. I mean, the Browns came away with a win.
Those officials just wanted to get on TV. That's all that was. They just like throwing that flag way too freaking much. And then that whole skirmish at the beginning of the game, and then the NFL coming out and warning, they better not see this be a trend. Like, what are you trying to do to football? Like, quit pussifying it. Well, let the dudes fight. They'll figure it out. It'll be fine. You know what I mean? Bullcrap.
Yeah, I
Let 'em
just
go.
wish they would shut up. Yeah,
Oh yeah, 100%, dude.
Yeah, make sure profit sharing goes well for the guys. And other than that, I don't want to hear you guys talk.
Turn off the Goodell bot and just wait for the playoffs till you plug me back in. We'll be fine. It's all good. What do you do?
Yeah, I'm sitting here. Let me look at the schedule real quick because I know the Niners have the Bengals coming up, then a bye, and then Philly. So I am kind of concerned about the next few weeks. The other thing, some news that actually came out today is now Brock Purdy is in concussion protocol. And it's looking like we're going to get the first start from Sam Darnold as a 49er come Sunday. Look, again, the 49er system tends to help quarterbacks be successful. So, maybe. So I think Sam Darnold can put up a comparable stat line to somebody like Brock Purdy, because Brock Purdy has not had to throw for 400 yards a game to be successful.
Yeah, but
do you think Sam Darnold can do that, or that hurt the Niners' chances in the next couple of weeks?
I don't think they beat Cincinnati. I mean, with this rookie coming in, I don't know anything about this rookie QB, I'll be honest with you. But I don't think they can beat Cincinnati right now. I think they're still in this rut. Obviously the Shanahan system is built for next man up, but that's accounting for healthy and firing on all cylinders at every other crucial position here. They're not doing that right now. McCaffrey, his health is iffy at best, I think it's fair to say. The wide receiver core is not doing what they should be. George Kittle, he's doing his job well, but they're just not. They're not the Niners that they were early in the year. This is not the same team that beat Dallas health-wise. So I don't think they beat Cincinnati. I think you might be going 0 for 3 for this past 3 games, unfortunately for your sake. But, my gut's telling me Cincy over, Niners on this one. You know what I mean?
Well, Darnold's not really a rookie. He was the number 3 overall pick of the Jets back in 2018, and this is the 3rd stop that he's been in the NFL.
Okay.
After not working.
Well, that's why I don't know anything about him. He's out there with the Jets.
Yeah. After not working out with the Jets, he last year he played with Carolina. And actually got off to a pretty decent start, but then that eventually fell apart. And then Carolina actually had Baker Mayfield for a while, and they ended up releasing Mayfield.
Like I said,
the Rams. And then whatever.
I bet they miss Trey Lance right now. I bet they're wishing they could have that one back.
I don't think so. I think Lance
has so
much growth. That's why I think it was a good trade for Dallas, because you've got a couple of years to let him grow. I said it a long time ago. I said this on Derailed when we were still doing stuff with Drew, that they should have just committed to Garoppolo for 2 or 3 years and said, okay, Trey, you're going to learn our system. You're going to grow as a quarterback, because he was so young.
Right.
And he didn't play a lot of football for a couple of years. He needed that growth. And so you could have put him in there when he was 24, which is when most guys are coming out of college anyway as rookies. When he was 24, he had a couple of years in the NFL already. He would have been in the system. He would have been ready. You could have built a team for him over a couple of years, and that would have been a great thing for him. But they were in such a hurry to get him out there because they spent so much draft capital getting him, that it was just like, oh, okay, I guess we have to throw him out there. It's like, no, you owe it to him and to yourself and to the fan base to make sure you handle him right. They didn't handle Kaepernick right. For all the other stuff about kneeling and things like that, one of the things I was trying to tell people is they didn't develop Kaepernick right either. They couldn't figure out what kind of team they wanted to be with Kaepernick. He has this giant arm that's a howitzer cannon that he can throw 80 yards in the fly, but you want to be a run team. So you had all these bruisers like Frank Gore and guys like that. It's like, why would you even have a quarterback like that? And they got him speedy receivers on the outside, but they still call themselves a run team. It's like they didn't know what they wanted their identity to be, and I don't think that worked out very well for his growth as a quarterback. But that's just me. But I don't know. Go down in the comments to let us know what you guys think. Is it a sign of what the Niners really are, or are they just kind of in a weird rut? I tend to think they're in a rut. I mean, even pro
I agree.
Teams go through ruts. I'm thinking it's a rut. But I don't think winning against Cincinnati this coming week is going to be the important thing. I think looking good is going to be the important thing. The system working, distributing the ball, getting all these people involved, Shanahan's general approach to offense is going to be the important thing. So go down in the comments, let us know what you guys think about the 2 weeks now, continuing struggles of the San Francisco 49ers. Now let's move on to the team that was benefited by terrible officiating against the 49ers in Cleveland a couple weeks ago. Yeah, I said it. I ain't mad about it either.
I said it. You want to fight about it?
Yeah, big book. Want to fight about it? But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Cleveland, look, they've got one of the better defenses in the league. That's not really.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I saw them myself a couple weeks ago. But I don't know. Do you think that Cleveland's for real? And how are they doing this with a backup quarterback that probably shouldn't have seen the field, with the exception of Watson being a great big pussy?
It made me so sick watching that Cleveland 49er game, watching Amari Cooper tear y'all's asses up, knowing that he was on Dallas last fucking year and we could have had that shit the week before if we had just paid the man. It made, like, I wanted to strangle Jerry Jones whenever I saw what Amari Cooper was doing to, the Niner defense. But, I don't know what to make of Cleveland. Obviously, like you said, the defense is top-notch, probably the best in football. I've got them on a couple fantasy teams. Luckily, I haven't. They've saved me. The offense, though, I mean, Watson, how many picks did Cleveland give up to get him? Like 4 or 5? Like, they gave up a massive amount, dude.
Too many?
Yeah, too many, yeah. And then they give him a huge contract. And the man has done nothing this season. I mean, I don't have his stat line in front of me, but I can tell you it's dog water compared to what comparatively to what he should be doing for what was given for him. He should be Peyton Manning out there. But I know I can't take Cleveland seriously, even though they beat the Niners. The defense is there. They've got some good offensive weapons. I don't see them going anywhere. I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just the stigma of where the Cleveland Browns that, it is what it is. I don't see them going anywhere. They might make the playoffs. They might backdoor their way in there somehow. But with this whole concussion protocol with Deshaun Watson or whatever he got hurt, I don't know. They're the Cleveland Browns for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I said, it's really hard to gauge anything from that game against the Niners. The refs kind of ruined it all. So I'm just going to kind of eliminate that for right now. Not that they didn't have some good plays. I mean, they did have some good plays. And like I said, I saw the game with my own eyes. I was in the stadium. There was a couple of plays that looked very, very good. And, PJ Walker, he played a hell of a game against the Niners. I'm not going to lie. He took advantage of their lack of defensive prowess a couple times. The defense is one of the things that keeps you in games. That's the reality of things. I'm sitting here looking at a couple of stats. Let me pull these back up because I didn't think to write them down at all. So, I'm thinking about just this upcoming matchup against the Seattle Seahawks. I see they're playing the Seahawks in Seattle this week. Let me, as soon as my thing brings it up, let's look at it. So right now you're looking at two of the worst offenses in the league battling it out, while they both have two of the better defenses in the league. So right now we're probably looking at another 49er Cleveland type score. It's going to be like 19-17 or something like that. So right now the Browns have the 25th ranked offense. The Seahawks have the 22nd ranked offense. The Browns have right now the number 1 ranked defense, and Seattle's got the number 4 ranked defense. Passing is not good for the Browns. They are dead last in the league, while not much better. The Seahawks are at number 20th. Rushing is where things get really interesting because the Browns are the 7th ranked rushing offense, but the Seahawks have.
But they just had. Well, I mean, you bring up the rushing game for the Browns. Isn't Jerome Ford hurt? That's why they brought up Kareem Hunt. He's taking first reps for them. Well, no, I'm not saying he's bad. He's actually one of the people that, and I'll get into this in the here in a little bit, but he's one of the people that I picked up this week, for one of my ads or whatever. But they kind of have a revolving door at running back. It seems like, you know what I mean?
But somehow they've won games. Somehow they're 4-2.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's a thing. You know what I mean?
And even with this revolving door of running backs, they're still 7th in the NFL in rushing. So I mean, so whatever they're doing it right. I think that's more credit to the offensive line than it is to their system. But I mean, Yeah, they're running back doing it. Picking up Kareem Hunt probably wasn't a bad idea. But yeah, my question is let me pull up their schedule real quick, because I'm wondering. I mean, other than the Niners, who have they really played? I mean, their own division is kind of a train wreck.
Yeah, no, it's not a good division
right now. Pulling team schedules. So AFC North 2023 schedule. Browns schedule. So I'm looking at their schedule now. Eventually, it was my computer loads everything in. Let's see. So week 1, Cincinnati, they won. Week 2, Pittsburgh, they lost to not a great Pittsburgh team. They kind of routed Tennessee, which is not very good. They lost to Baltimore, which is a pretty good team. Bye in week 5.
The Ravens are good this year.
They beat the Colts by 1. That was kind of a weird game. And yeah, they scored a lot of points, but their vaunted defense gave up a shit ton of points too. So they got Seattle.
Now, was that with or without Jonathan Taylor on the field, though? What week was that?
That was with Jonathan Taylor on the field. That was just a
was it? Okay.
Second. That was just a couple days ago. They got the Seahawks coming up. The Seahawks are. I think people are giving the Seahawks too much credit, but I mean the Seahawks, whatever, they might win. They play Arizona, who's not very good. They play Baltimore again. They play Pittsburgh. They play Denver, who's not very good. The Rams are getting hotter, but I'm still not sure they're exactly up to form. Jacksonville, which is pretty good. The Bears, who are bad. The Texans, who are bad. The Jets, who are bad. And then they finish up against the Bengals. So their last 3 games are kind of their last 3 games are going to be kind of they're going to be kind of gimmies. You know what I mean?
Well, there's when it comes to the AFC, look at who's good right now. Obviously, you have to say Miami, number 1. The Ravens are doing well. Buffalo, depending on the week, sometimes they look like world killers. The next week, they look like a JV team that can't score a field goal. But, it is what it is. I don't see Cleveland going anywhere in the playoffs. I think it's only a matter of time before teams like Cincinnati finally figure it out and they get back to their ways. Obviously, Kansas City's doing well. There's unfortunately for them, there's no empty spaces in the end for them. They're going to have to go somewhere else. But it's just they may pick up a win here or there, but they're a B level team. They're not I don't even think they'll win their division, Dave, to be honest with you. I think that's going to be Baltimore winning that division. I predicted that at the beginning of the year. But, it is what it is. I mean, we'll see what they do.
Yeah, they might backdoor their way into the playoffs because like I said, the last 3 or 4 games they're playing powder puff.
I can see them as a wild card. I mean, because 2 of them go, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that they don't because, for one, also I was not very appreciative of the fans up there, and I kind of wrote it off because I was just like, well, this is the biggest one they've had since before the Super Bowl was called the Super Bowl, so I was just like, let them have this one win. And I was telling my son, I went up there with my oldest son Keegan, and there was a lot of people jawing back and forth with him, and I told him, I was like, look, we're going to be playing football in January. They're not. I'm like, let them have this. I mean,
this is their Super Bowl.
Yeah, like I said, I'm let them have this one. In January, we're watching 49er football. They're going to be watching 49er football too because they can't watch Browns football because they're going to be at home, screwing around. But they'll be watching Bengal football, and they're all going to suddenly find their Bengals gear up in Cleveland. But
right.
But yeah, it would be good for the league to see a team like Cleveland do well. I mean, look, I think it's been beneficial for the league that Detroit's doing well, and I've been saying for the last several years now. And we were talking football over on Derailed that Detroit and Cleveland, who the hell wants to go play there? How do you build a winner there when you can't get guys to stay? If you draft a guy first round and he does really well, as soon as his first contract's up, you got LA or New York want to throw some money at him. He's like, do I want to go play in LA where the weather's great year round?
Right.
New York where the celebrities all like to hang out. There's Broadway and all this. It's like, I don't know. I'll take and get paid. It's like, see you later.
I'm going to Cleveland. They have ice on the ground. That's about it.
LeBron grew up there in Cleveland twice. He was like, see ya. He's like, I love you, Cleveland, but I ain't playing here. But yeah, I don't know. It's good for the NFL when these teams do well, but the reality is, Cleveland's got a history of having great teams in spurts. It's like they'll have a year where it's like they surprise people. They'll win 10 or 11 games, and people are like, okay, Cleveland's officially back. This is just like the days of Vinny Testaverde and all this. And then the very next year they come out and lay an egg and win like 3 games, and Baker Mayfield gets cast out of town, and they're drafting their 17th quarterback in the first round in 20 years. And
I bet they're wishing they had Mayfield back right now, by God. Well, I mean, he's actually doing something in Tampa.
Well, here's one of the things that interests me about this, and let me throw this in your direction. You know, for all the talk, for everything they gave up for Deshaun Watson, they're doing all this without him because he's not playing. Whether he's actually hurt or whether he's just afraid to play, which is kind of what I think is happening. I think he's afraid to get out there. They're doing all this without Deshaun Watson. Is he even needed in Cleveland anymore?
Well, the fact that they can do it without him kind of proves your point already. I mean, how many quarterbacks has Cleveland ran through over the years? I mean, they've been on the top of the draft pile and gotten good quarterbacks out of college. Everybody from, no matter what you feel about him, Johnny Manziel, my Aggie, Johnny Football. They had Colt McCoy out of Texas. They've had a number of good quarterbacks that have came through there and never did anything. But they're winning without, Watson. Obviously they mortgaged the farm to get this guy. They have to do so. There ain't a team in the league that's going to give them anything for it. So they better figure out a way to use him, because kind of looks like they got another dud. And hey, if they can win without him, let his butt ride the bench while you actually go win football games. You know what I'm saying? It's just, go with the horse that's getting you where you need to go at the end of the day.
And the deal they gave him was so stupid because all that money's guaranteed.
Oh yeah. Oh no, it's ridiculous. It's nonsense.
Or like 90% of it, some gigantic sum of it. So it's like now you're married.
He got paid like he's a Super Bowl winner, dude. He hasn't done anything. He got a deal just like Dak Prescott. You know what I mean? It's bullshit.
But Dak's actually won some games and put up numbers and has been on the field. I mean, he's been injured. I mean, guys get hurt. But it's like, but when Dak is healthy, Dak wants out of the field. Dak tries to make things happen in the game. Dak Prescott is an order of magnitude better than anything that Watson's ever given anybody in the NFL.
Of course.
And so it's like, I feel like if it were Dak would be like, put some ice on my shoulder between drives. I want to go out there and play. Whereas Deshaun Watson is like, it's like a little sore right here. I'm going to sit out this game. Get out there and play your fucking game and be a man. How much money have you got to pay to sit on the fucking bench for most of the last 2 seasons? I mean, they had the suspension last year, which is whatever, and then he wasn't terribly effective when he played last year, or else the Browns would have made the playoffs. I don't even know if I don't think they made the playoffs last year. But this year, I mean, the guy's been on the field for like 2 games. Did he make it out of the first quarter last week before he got injured again? So. Oh no, my shoulder! Yeah. Well,
this just goes to and I can't even blame Watson. I mean, he didn't ask for that big of a contract. It was negotiated out. This falls on management. This falls on the general manager of the team and the ownership and everything else. Why are you mortgaging this much capital and this much of your future for a guy that, I've got a tickle in my armpit. I'm not playing today. Sorry, guys. Maybe next week. That's basically, you bought a lemon you went to the used car salesman and he sold you something that it ran long enough to get out of the parking lot. Now it's your problem. Basically what they got. But, for all that, I mean, just park that lemon on the side of the field and hope that defense can carry you to something in the playoffs. I don't think it will. But hey, they can get a wild card. That's, I guess, possible, but it is what it is. It won't be because of Watson if they do get anywhere. I'll say that much. But, good luck getting past Baltimore and everybody else in the AFC there, Cleveland. So, hope you enjoyed that San Francisco win, because that's all you're getting for the next couple of years. So,
that's what I told my son. I was like, they last won an NFL championship. It wasn't even called the Super Bowl yet. Back in 1964. I said,
right.
It's the biggest win they've had since the year after Kennedy got killed. I was just like, let them have it.
I guarantee you,
playing in January.
If you go to coffee shops and haircutting places where the old men hang around and sit, there's already newspaper clippings of that game that are on the wall, and they'll be there for the next 50 years until they tear that building down, because that's the last thing that's ever going to come to that football team. But, it is what it is. So good luck to them. Whatever.
I guarantee the Niners you can get a Super Bowl trophy before the Browns do, so they can have that one. I really don't care.
The Cowboys are going to get one before they do. We ain't been there in almost 30 years. All right, I'm just saying it is what it is. But, what are you going to say?
I think both of us stand a better chance of hoisting the Lombardi Trophy at some point in the next couple.
Right?
Years.
Yeah. I'm gonna win Super Bowl MVP before Watson does. But it's all good, man. You do you. So.
Yeah. We'll move on into the fantasy football impact this week, but I did notice something funny in the chat. This guy, Daniel Romero, pops in and says hello. And literally within a minute, Tex responds with howdy. Yeah. And then this guy says, I'm going to leave because you don't respond. Well, Daniel, I mean, I sorry you feel that way. I'm in the middle of trying to produce a show. I was looking up some stats. I was trying to be informed. If what you want is your dick to feel bigger because you got mentioned on my show, congratulations. I hope this helps your fragile ego. So good luck to you, Daniel Romero, and your fantasy football endeavor.
I said hi. I was trying to initiate chat. So it's all good.
Good luck to you, Daniel Romero. I hope life goes well for you.
Yeah. But have a good night, Daniel.
Yeah, let's get to the fantasy impact now. Tex, waiver wires and the draft is where you win your leagues. Who are you targeting on the waiver wire this week?
Obviously my line in the bottom of the chat, or on the bottom of my little screen there, shows I had a pretty good week this week. I went 6-1. All my teams did well. I had checked our side league that we have, and you bumped up to 2 and I bumped up to 3, and we play each other this week. So, we'll see how that pays off. But all that being said, I only really had 2 pickups this week. I picked up Rashee Rice out of Kansas City, the wide receiver. He is rostered in 66% of leagues. He's went 256 and 2 on 27 targets in the last 5 games. And Mahomes is quickly becoming a fan of this guy. Besides Kelsey, Mahomes is going to this guy more than anybody else. And with the Chiefs on the rise right now, we can all use wide receivers. So if you can get Rashee Rice on your squad there, I would recommend him. And my other pickup for this week, as I mentioned earlier, I picked up Kareem Hunt for the Browns. He was only 46% rostered. He's had 3 touchdowns in the last 2 weeks, and he's been bumped up to their main running back, with Ford going out and everything else. And, like I said, all of the Watson talk aside, the running game is still working. I mean, you saw it in person when you went to go see him. So, these 2 guys I feel like they're going to be good point scorers for you. They're on 2 offenses that are kind of moving the ball and getting some points right now. And, we're all looking for backups to our, starters. Like I said, I've got Jefferson down on a couple teams. He's still on IR. So I need the wide receiver help. I've got Samuels out of San Francisco. He's hurt. Have you heard anything on Debo, how long he's going to be out?
He's probably not going to come back till the Philly game.
So a couple weeks. Okay. Well, there you go. I've got Rashee Rice to take his place.
He's not playing against. He didn't play against Minnesota. He's not playing against Cincinnati. He'll have the bye week. Yeah. They're looking to have him back for Philadelphia. So. Right.
So like I said, I got Rashee Rice out of Kansas City and Kareem Hunt out of Cleveland. That was really my only. It wasn't a big waiver wire week for me. I did see the Rose and TSS were working like madmen over in the side league, picking up and dropping. There was 4 or 5 moves made this week. But, hey, I haven't forgot TSS. You beat me by 0.30 points a few weeks ago. I have not forget that. I hope I see you in the playoffs, sir. But, we'll see what happens. But yeah, those were my ads for the week. As far as drops, the guy that we just talked about, Deshaun Watson. Obviously, numbers are garbage, and he gets turf toe if he tries to put his socks on. So, fuck that guy. But besides him, I also dropped Tyler Higbee, the tight end for the Rams. The dude's only got five carries or five catches for 47 yards since week 5. So he's a dead duck. I had to cut him loose as well. But there's not a lot of big pickups for me this week, which is always a good sign. It means your teams are winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I great minds think alike, of course. I also had Rashid Rice on my list. I was looking at NFL.com. He's only in 30% of leagues on NFL.com, which is weird. But
wow.
He's had 60-plus yards and or a touchdown in 3 straight games. And like you said, when a guy like Mahomes gets comfortable with somebody, he's going to key on him a little bit.
Yeah.
So he's going to be getting some looks. Now, I also have Indianapolis wide receiver Josh Downs. He's only on the roster in 23% of leagues on NFL.com. He's got last week against the Browns defense, he had 5 receptions for 125 yards and a touchdown. Over the course of the last 3 weeks, he scored 47.7 fantasy points total from week 3 through 6.
Damn.
That's not bad for a wide receiver. And to top it off, Gardner Minshew is one of those guys who he wants to find somebody he's comfortable throwing to because it's going to help him look better.
Right.
And with Richardson being out now, supposedly for the rest of the year, I think he might end up missing the rest of the year. That's
I believe he's out for the year. Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be Gardner Minshew for the rest of the year. So Josh Downs is somebody that could be a solid wide receiver too, or maybe even a flex. Also, one name that I'll throw out there, just because apparently he's back practicing, and I mean, why not? Kyler Murray. He's been a full participant at practice, quarterback for the Cardinals.
Wow.
And I was big on Josh Dobbs, the quarterback there that has been kind of running the show. He's had a couple of good games. He put up good numbers against the Niners a few weeks ago. Didn't win the game, but put up good numbers. And he's been a bit of a streamer for fantasy. He's kind of a matchup guy, but he hasn't been terrible. So if he's managed to do something with that offense, then you would think that Kyler Murray, who's at least on paper more talented, would be able to put up similar numbers, hopefully better. But I mean, maybe some people are taking some chances on Kyler Murray. I mean, I personally wouldn't. I would wait on. Look, he's been so spotty most of his career anyway. He hasn't quite lived up to the potential. So part of me wants to see him play a couple of weeks before I start to run out and get him on the waiver wire. But I would imagine there's some people out there that are probably hurting for quarterback play. Maybe you've got Purdy, who's going to probably miss this week. Maybe you've got maybe you had Richardson. Maybe Kyler Murray is somebody you could get and maybe stash him away just in case he ends up hitting a hot streak later in the year. I don't know what their schedule looks like later in the year, but I mean, I would imagine he's going to have San Francisco once each the last 4 to 5 weeks of the year. Probably not the best matchups, but I mean, but who knows? All I know is I went 3-1 this week in my 4 fantasy leagues. My only loss was in one of my little side leagues, my little cheap leagues for $10. So I'm not terribly mad. My league though on Sleeper, God, I was dying in that league. I said it when we were getting the league started. I was like, I'm in the hardest division in my league, in my money league, with my buddy Corey, who is really good, my buddy Frank Juvenella, who's very good. And with Foulmouth Ken from the Foulmouth Network. Go check him out as well. But and Ken's not stupid at all. So yeah, it's been a rough one.
Ken knows his football.
Yeah, Ken knows his football. So yeah, it's been a struggle. But I did win. So now I'm 2-5 as I won last week, and right now I'm projected to beat my friend Josh by, it looks like 0.26 points is what I'm projected to win by right now. So I'm going to be looking at the waiver wire to see if I can get that up a little bit and maybe get myself an extra couple of points for some cushion, because winning games is fine. I don't like winning games that close, and honestly, who the hell knows? I mean, right now I've got Cousins starting against Green Bay, which that's not a bad matchup. But Kamara, dude, Kamara's been one of my lifesavers for the last couple of weeks since he came back. Oh
yeah, but he's got Now, this could have just been he just set out of practice and Yahoo had to put a questionable, Q next to his name. But I did see that popped up. It said he went from healthy to questionable or something. Could be nothing. He could, who knows. But I really hope he's healthy because I really like that dude. He's got me since he's came back, obviously, this season. He's put up some points down there in New Orleans. So,
Yeah, I'm reading right now. It says Alvin Kamara did not practice on Wednesday with illness.
He'll be fine.
It's unclear what type of illness Kamara is dealing with, but he has some time to heal up before Sunday's weekend game against the Colts and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's not a severe injury that's looking to keep him out. I mean, all it says is illness, so he could have COVID for all I know. But yeah, all it says is so. I mean, I'm looking forward to having him. But I mean, if not, I've got other guys I can put in there in my sleeper.
Now, do you have him in our league as well, or is he not on that team?
I have him in my league. I think that's the only league that I have him in is in my sleeper league.
Okay.
I do not have him
because I know in the game that you and I are playing this week, I think I'm projected by like 20, 19 or 20, something like that. I don't know what the projection is, but those things always fluctuate so much you never can tell with these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do not have him in that one. And I don't think I have him in either of my leagues on ESPN. No, I do not. So yeah, I've only got him in the one league, but yeah, it's Kamara's been a godsend for me. I mean, it's other than that. But yeah, go ahead and go to the comments down below. Let us know who you're targeting on the waiver wire. Again, the waiver wire of the draft is where you win your leagues. It's part of it's setting your lineup and keeping track of things, but the waiver wire especially, that's how you get wins in fantasy football. Let's move on now to the panic button and Tex. I mean, it's a unique time of year. Now we've got bye weeks to deal with. The production is kind of leveling itself out. We know who's getting what. Is there anybody on your roster that you're hitting the panic button on right now?
Well, this is going to be this guy's second time on my panic button part. That's Mr. CeeDee Lamb. And it's not just specifically him, but I guess you could put Dallas offense in here. Where is this guy's production? This guy is a Pro Bowl level elite top 10 receiver, and he ain't got Jack Diddley squat all year long. Obviously I know that the Cowboys haven't scored a red zone touchdown hardly, and the offense is stagnant like pond water right now. But they got to get CeeDee Lamb going. I wasn't hitting the panic button on him before, but I'm circling the button now. I got to be honest with you. And obviously, I know the Cowboys didn't play this week; they had a bye. But I want to see CD bust out and have like a 3-touchdown game, just to kind of calm my nerves a little bit about this, because this guy's too good of a football player to not be producing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm not ready to hit the panic button on him just yet, but I am concerned about Calvin Ridley. He has put up great stats. Yeah. I mean, week 1 against Indy, good numbers, 16.1 points. Then follows that up with 3, 4, and 9.8. Then he has a good game against Buffalo, puts up 13.6 points. Follows it up with 2.5 points, and then half a point against New Orleans. 1 reception for 4 yards. I'm sorry, one reception on 4 targets for 5 yards. That's not good. And you're playing against you're playing against like the 21st ranked defense in Pittsburgh.
Right.
If he doesn't put up solid numbers, I mean at least double digits, I would honestly have to say. And then he's got a bye week in week 9. Then he has to play the Niners defense. And then, the rest of the way out, it's not going to get a whole lot easier for him. He's got to play Cleveland. He's got to play Baltimore. This week is going to be make or break with me for Calvin Ridley. If he doesn't do something pretty good, I would imagine I'm going to hit the eject button on him real quick and find somebody that's going to actually fill in and put up some regular points. It's like, because he's got tons of potential. He's got a good quarterback throw to him. He's on a pretty good team that spreads the ball around. Why are you getting 4 targets, 1 reception for 4 yards? It doesn't make any sense to me. So this week is going to be make or break for him with me. That's one of the people I'm kind of like concerned with in my league, in my sleeper league. I'm actually pretty confident with most of my roster. In your league, our little experimental league, I mean, Brian Robinson, maybe. I was kind of expecting a lot more from him this year, and he hasn't really disappointed, but he hasn't exactly been very consistent either. I mean, 13 points week 1, almost 29 points in week 2, then 7, then 13, then 8, then 13, then 8. And I'm like, there's a lot of opportunity, and he's had good matchups too, and he hasn't really taken advantage of it. He had a great matchup against Chicago in week 5, 8 points. He had a good matchup against the Giants in week 7, 8 points. Didn't really do it, so I'm kind of wondering maybe if it isn't time to move off this guy, especially this time of year when I'm worried about having because this is the time of year where I'm targeting guys on the waiver wire who are going to have good matchups in the fantasy playoffs.
Yeah.
So the guys that are going to have good matchups week 13, 14, 15, whenever your fantasy playoffs start. But yeah, those are two of the guys that I'm really concerned with right now. Let's see. Got as a Donmere on YouTube's got a question for us. He says they need a wide receiver and 2 flexes out of Ridley, Josh Downs, DeMarcado, Hubbard, a whole lot of names. You guys can read them. I mean, out of those 2 flexes, I talked about Josh Downs earlier. I liked him. 5 receptions, 125 yards, and a touchdown against the Browns. He's been scoring a lot of points lately, so I would take him. I kind of like Chuba Hubbard too. Of all those. Let me go look at his, just for comparison's sake. Let me go look at his. I'll find him on here probably quicker, but I'll go look for Chuba Hubbard real quick. But let's see.
Well, while you're doing that, he's Domer says he needs a wide receiver and 2 flexes out of Ridley, Downs, DeMarcado, Hubbard. Oh. Wide receiver, I think I'd go Josh Downs. I agree with Frank on that. Now, 2 flexes, give me Osborne and Tankdale.
I think
Hubbard's good, but
because we talked
about
Rashawn Johnson a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I don't know. My gut's telling me Osborne and Tankdale. I think that's the way I'd go with that. If I had that to choose from.
Yeah, I would definitely go Josh Downs as the wide receiver, and I'd probably go Hubbard and Rashawn Johnson. That's my guess.
Yeah.
Tank Dell has been putting up some good points lately. I'm not sure what Freeman's been doing lately. But
I don't know. I don't think I have him on any of my teams.
I don't know what KJ Osborne's been doing lately either, to be absolutely honest. But yeah, Rashawn Johnson we talked about a couple weeks ago.
KJ Osborne got brought up the week after Jefferson went down up in Minnesota. That's why I say I would plug him in as a flex because Kirk Cousins, he does get a good bit of fantasy points, and he likes Osborne
down the stretch against the Niners.
That's what I'm saying. So I mean, obviously fantasy doesn't dictate, or real football doesn't dictate fantasy. So even if Minnesota's not winning, you can still get a good bit of points out of KJ Osborne there. That's what I'd go with, though.
Yeah, I agree. So come back next week. Let us know how you did, Domer, because, like I said, Tex went
please subscribe if you're not. We would appreciate it.
Yeah, be number 501. That would make me very happy. But yeah, Tex, again, he went 6-1 in his leagues. I went 3-1 this week in my leagues. Including my league, which is the league that I actually care about. But that's the one I've been struggling in, of course. But yeah, come back next week and let us know how you did, and come back and get involved in the discussion. Now, let's get to what's becoming my favorite segment of the whole thing. We're going to get to Texas pick 3, his big 3 down in Texas. They always do it bigger in Texas. Tex 3 games this week that you're keying in on. How do you think they're going to go?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about this earlier today because I knew I had to get prepared for this. And I kind of combed through the schedule and what I thought would come out of this. And the 3 that really stood out to me were the Houston Texans against the Carolina Panthers, the Kansas City Chiefs against the Denver Broncos, and then the Ravens against the Cardinals. And I think the scores for these games, and just so everybody knows, we obviously missed last week, so I don't add that into the record. But currently my record as of today is 4-2, and and those two losses were the Browns beating the 49ers, which nobody predicted that crap, and that other loss point I was happy to take because I was reverse picking my Dallas Cowboys against the Chargers. So hell yeah, let's go. So either way, standing at 4-2. Houston Texans and Carolina Panthers. Give me Houston over Panthers 17-7. Now this next game is assuming Taylor Swift is in the audience. Otherwise, it blows the whole prediction. But I've got Kansas City beating Denver Broncos 24-10. And my third lock of the week, I've got Baltimore Ravens, who are rolling right now. Lamar Jackson was a beast this past week against the Arizona Cardinals, 28-13. So come back next week and let's see if I'm a genius or a moron. So
now, do you change your thought on the Baltimore-Arizona game if Kyler Murray actually plays?
No, because I think Baltimore's moving so well. Lamar Jackson finally found his stroke again. I think they keep this thing rolling through Arizona and they make a mockery of them that Dallas should have. So I got Baltimore all day in that game.
Yeah, I agree with you with Kansas City, Denver. I really want to see this be at least one of the games that Denver pulls out this year. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But it's probably not going to happen. I think Kansas City is just a better team. I agree with you, Baltimore, Arizona. The one thing I disagree with, though, on Texas and Carolina, I feel like Texas can put up way more than 17 points on Carolina.
They can, but will they? That's my only thing. I wanted to go higher because C.J. Stroud, he's a good quarterback, and he's got Nico Collins there. I like this guy. I wish he had a star on his helmet instead of a bullhead. But, the Houston Texans are kind of fickle, man. I don't know. They're coming off the bye and everything else. We'll see what they can do, but I don't know. I've got it at 17-7. We'll see it. We'll see how close I get. But I like my picks. We'll see what comes of it. But we'll find out next Wednesday. So
I'm looking at NFL.com to see what they think because they have this thing on NFL.com where they predict the score. Let me find it.
They do the predictions or the projections, whatever.
Yeah, the last meeting, which doesn't mean anything because it was in 2021, Carolina beat the Texans 24-9, but that was September of 2021, so that was a while ago.
Yeah, that was two totally different teams.
Yeah. Let's see. Where was the prediction? Did I miss it? I think I might have missed it because it scrolls in this thing, and I think I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at something else. But yeah, look, the Texans are putting a point. Look, they're 3-3. They're not running a roughshod over the league or anything, but they look good. Carolina does not.
They're a good young team. They're a good young team that has talent, is what they are.
Believe it or not, Carolina has a 10th ranked defense, which I don't understand that at all. But the Texans are 15th ranked defense. But the Texans are 12th in passing, whereas Carolina is 27th. Neither one of them are particularly effective rushers. They're both 27 and 25, respectively. So, but I mean, offense, the Texans have the 19th ranked offense, and Carolina's got 27th. Look, I feel like more than 17. I would give them probably like a 24-10, maybe, because I feel.
You think they'd go that high, Carolina?
I think they can. Look, I mean, they're not playing the best defense in the world. I mean, they're top 10, but I mean, they're not. If they were that good, they wouldn't be 0-4.
They don't play like a top 10 defense.
Yeah, if they were that good, they wouldn't be 0-6. But
on paper, they're a top 10 defense. They don't play like one.
Yeah, but yeah, I feel like Texas. I feel like Houston can put up a lot more than 17 points. But I mean, I could be wrong.
We'll see.
If you'd asked me a couple weeks ago, I thought the Niners were going to put up 30 on Cleveland. But
I convinced myself the Cowboys were going to walk into your Niners park over there and just stomp a mud hole, but that didn't happen either. Predictions are just that; they're not reality until they play the game in any given Sunday, right? But I feel confident. I think I'm within the ballpark, and we'll see what comes of it.
It's also the battle of Ohio State quarterbacks. You're going to have C.J. Stroud against Bryce Young, so that's going to be fun to see too. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it right now. C.J. Stroud, 59.6% completion percentage for 1,600 yards, 9 touchdowns to 1 interception. Whereas Young's got a 63% completion percentage, so it's better. But he's thrown for 967 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 4 picks. But I don't know. I feel like the Texans are gonna. I feel like the Texans are gonna.
I think it'll be a fun game to watch. It's one that I want to check out. Yards. Yeah, like I said, I'm not a Houston Texans fan. I hate the city of Houston. The Astros can blow me as far as I care. A bunch of whiny cheaters down there still crying because the Rangers beat you. Sorry, I had to do that one time. But that's baseball. That's not fantasy football. But no, the
doesn't matter. Rivalries when it comes to cities.
Right. Listen, I'm not a Houston guy on any of my sports teams, but you got to recognize talent, and I don't think Houston does anything this year, but they've got a new coach down there that I like moves that he's making, and I would love to see an all-Texas Super Bowl. So I need the Cowboys and the Texans to get their crap together, go win these conferences next year or something, and give me an all-Texas Super Bowl, buddy. That'd be amazing. But, that's probably never going to happen. So it is
right now. Right now, NFL.com has it predicted as 23-21 Texans over the Panthers.
Wow, they're giving Carolina a lot of points. That's crazy.
Well, I mean, the Texans have the 15th ranked defense. They're roughly middle of the road.
Right.
But it's funny because they have Carolina ranked as the 27th offense, but still have them putting up 21 points. I don't know how
that makes no sense. But. Yeah, you can't be ranked that low and be projected to. Now, I mean, anybody can score points at any given time. That's why you play the game. But I don't see it. I think, either way Houston wins. But we'll see what happens. I'll be interested to check these scores out, and we'll see what happens, my friend.
I'll look real quick since we're on here. The Rams are playing at Dallas this week. Let me look and see what it predicts that score to be.
I think last I heard, Cowboys were projected to win, but not by much, I believe is what that was.
The Rams are 3-4. Dallas is 4-2. And it has, let's see, it says the Dallas Cowboys win percentage is 73%. So they say there's a 73% chance that Dallas is going to win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Cowboys are coming off a bye. They, thank God they needed that off week. So hopefully we can get these offensive linemen healthy so we can get our actual starting guys back together on the field at the same time. And, Dak probably needed a week to get his head clear from all the nonsense that he's, been putting out on the field, especially in that Niners game. That was bad. But, and I mean, to be fair, the only reason that Dallas won that game against the Chargers was because they sucked just a little bit less than Los Angeles did. They kind of lucked into that one, to be honest with you. So, they got their bye week. Maybe they got their head right. They got a slump buster out and did what they needed to do. And, maybe we can get back on track. You know what I mean? So I still say the Cowboys will win the East. I think they'll pull it out. I don't think Philadelphia is as good as everybody thinks they are. I mean, if you have to go out and sign like a 55-year-old Julio Jones, you've got problems. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. But we'll find out.
Well, sometimes you sign a guy like that because you want his presence in the lineup. It's a big thing in baseball, I know, is they'll sign a guy like that because of the effect that he can have on younger players. So maybe it's not necessarily because they want him to be their saving grace, but
Well, it's not just that, but just look at how Jalen Hurts has been playing. He does not look like the guy that almost went to the Super Bowl last year. Like even he is in his own kind of slump, and that's just the Eagles and Cowboys always play each other tough. The records never matter. It's one of those big rivalry games, and they normally end up splitting them anyways. But like I said, I still have hope in Dallas. I do think they'll make playoffs. But I mean, they're not winning the Super Bowl. But I don't know. But I don't know. Like I said, I think a lot of teams are maybe one good trade away from really breaking out, and I think Niners, Cowboys, Eagles, I think they're in that ballpark of the talent is there. They're a good team. Dallas just has to get over this hump. They've got to start scoring touchdowns. They got to get Tony Pollard going. They got to get CD going. Dak needs to get out of his own head, and they got to put these drives together. Then we need 7 points, not 3. Field goals are great. Give me 7. You know what I mean? But we'll see.
Yeah, right now, NFL.com has it projected where the Niners to beat the Bengals 24-20. They're basically they're at home. They're playing in Santa Clara, so that's basically the point spread is basically.
I was going to say, if you flip that score, I would be more likely to believe it because I think maybe Cincinnati's beginning to figure their stuff out, but like I said, I don't think the Niners beat Cincinnati this week.
Okay, you've got the Niners, it says here, as a 7th-ranked offense against the Bengals, 32nd-ranked offense. The Bengals are the worst offense in the NFL right now, if you believe this. Defenses are kind of on par right now. It says the Niners, Giants. Sorry, I've been reading about them hiring Bob Melvin as their new manager all day. The Niners defense right now is the 14th defense against the ranked defense against the 16th ranked defense of Cincinnati. But where it gets interesting is the offense. The Niners have the 9th-ranked passing offense against the 29th-ranked passing offense and the 6th-ranked rushing offense against the dead last 32nd-ranked rushing offense. So I have a feeling this is going to be hopefully this is going to be the kind of game where the Niners defense kind of finds their stride. You know what I mean?
The Niners defense is going to have to carry that team because they're not going to have the 9th-ranked passing offense with this guy instead of Brock Purdy. I mean, that's going to change the landscape.
That's the thing is Sam Darnold looked good for the first 2 or 3 weeks last year in Carolina. So I mean he was the number 3 overall pick and had some bright spots with the Jets. So he's not bad. Sometimes it's just the system you find yourself in. The Jets are one of those systems where it seems they're almost like what the Browns have been for most of the last century. Is like they draft a quarterback with a lot of talent in the first round, but for whatever reason, that's just where quarterbacks going to die. Is Cleveland. And the Jets have had a similar problem. They get these young quarterbacks. They get Wilson. They get Darnold when they drafted him. So many other guys over the course of the years. Geno Smith. They had him at one point. Look what he's doing now in Seattle. He's playing exactly like the high round pick that he was. There's just something about these teams that they have trouble developing guys sometimes. And so I have a feeling that they chose to keep Darnold over Trey Lance for a reason. I'm not saying that I agree with their reasons. I'm not even saying they're right, but they have internally this idea as to what he can do for the team, and he's probably not that much different from Brock Purdy. I would imagine he can go out there and put up similar stat lines to Purdy.
Do you now? You probably don't know this, but do you know what kind of first team reps he's gotten? Is he a practice squad guy? Like, what has he been this season? Like, where has he been on the team?
I'm sure he's gotten first team reps in practice, but I mean, beyond that, he's a guy who's started plenty of games on his own. It's not like Brock Purdy coming in here and he's sort of a flash in the pan the first year that he gets any significant playing time because he was Mr. Irrelevant, last guy drafted. You never expected him to ever actually pick up a football during a game. So the expectations for him were different. The expectations for Darnold were much different. They had him starting week 1 of his rookie season, and he didn't do well in a team that has historically not done well. Then he goes to Carolina, a team that historically doesn't even have much of a history. I mean, they were an expansion team 25 years ago, but that doesn't have much of a history. But their history is not one of great success. They've never been to a Super Bowl. They've been to the playoffs. They've had good years. The Cam Newton years weren't bad. But I mean, they have not shown that they can really develop a young quarterback either. So now he comes here, a very quarterback-friendly system. He's easily got the most weapons he's ever had as an NFL quarterback. So all he has to do is just do what Garoppolo did, do what they wanted Trey Lance to do what they've asked Brock Purdy to do, is just connect, have high accuracy, and let Debo run for yardage after the catch. Let Kittle hit Kittle over the middle. Let Ayuk run for after the catch. Let McCaffrey do his. Hand the ball off to McCaffrey. Let him hit the holes. They're not so dependent on their quarterback that if he is not playing well, they're certainly going to lose the game. You know what I mean? So I think he can go in there and do well. I mean, I hope he can go in there and do well.
We'll find out.
Hey, you see this cup? I hope he goes in there and does well.
If he does it well by next week, it's going to be whiskey to the brim. There won't be even ice in that thing. It's just going to be straight up.
I'm just going to open the bottle and just we lose 3 straight. I think I'll start it out with just like me shutting whatever's left in the bottle next to you, just like, oh god, this is terrible.
You know, we'll see.
I wasn't paying attention to the chat. Lady Cora finally came in. What's up, Cora? How you doing?
Yeah, we got Cora in the chat. Cora is happy that she's not in first place in our league anymore. So, you know.
Hey, I'll be in first. Who is in first place in that league?
It's TSS at 1, you're 2, and I'm 3. Cora's 4, Rose is 5.
Dings. Okay. Yeah, I'm 5 and 2. That's not bad. 880.
Yeah.
I have the most points for. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can do it.
But you and I are playing this week, so, you know, we can be friends right now, but on Sunday I have to beat your ass. Just know that ahead of time. So, you know.
That's
all good.
That's all right. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to wear my 49er flag again, patting on it for the big win that I get this week.
Wait a minute. Did you not learn your lesson from the gloating that you did since you wore that flag? Your team has not won a football game. Are you not a superstitious football fan?
I'm not superstitious when it comes to football. I'm a little bit when it comes to baseball. I'm one of those guys that won't talk to the pitcher. I've got no hitter going, and I'm not to the point where I'll like cross my fingers and hold my breath driving by a graveyard kind of thing. I don't know. I never understood why that had anything to do with baseball, but there are certain things I won't do on a baseball field. I honestly, I'm still one of the guys who, like, when I walk in a baseball field today, I won't step on the foul line. That's bad luck.
When it comes to baseball, like, okay, obviously my Rangers just won the ALCS. I have a certain shirt I have to wear that has not been washed. When I wear this, they win. I don't know why. I am weirdo superstitious. You know, I have, you know, my weirdo hang-ups, but, you know, it is what it is. We all do weird things when it comes. When you're a big sports fan, you have your little. I don't even know where the superstitions come from, but they just kind of happen, I guess. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. So, what you gonna do?
Yeah, it's always some funny coincidence that you just like write it out as long as you
can,
and it becomes good luck. It's like the whole like I want the same pair of socks for every game things without washing them, that kind of thing. It doesn't have any real effect. It's just like you just want to make sure the elements of the universe are in the right place. You think it's going to make something. Mostly, it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy anyway.
My weirdest one is my hat has to be in like a certain position on my head, otherwise the Rangers don't do well. I can't explain why I do this. It just happens. I don't know, but you know, it is what it is. So
when I get a chance to sit and watch Giants baseball, usually, I mean, the season's over now for the Giants, obviously, but when I get a chance, I have my go-to shirt. I was on MLB.com a couple of years ago, just buying a few things for my kids for Christmas, and I spent so much money on that one time, but they were just like, you can get a free shirt or whatever. So I just kind of like, whatever, I'll get a free shirt for me. And I found just a giant shirt that says Will Clark on the back. You know Will Clark. He played for the Rangers for a few years. He's I've
actually got his autograph.
He's a good Southern boy. He's from Mississippi. He's just like you. But
he was a hothead too. Did you see where he went after the camera people back whenever he was playing for the Rangers?
I've seen a few. It's like I remember him. Like he had the rivalry with Nolan Ryan. I guess he hit a home run off Nolan Ryan early on in Will Clark's career.
Yeah,
and I guess Nolan Ryan.
I got his autograph. Oh, I was a kid whenever I got his autograph at the old Rangers ballpark. But yeah, no, he was a good one, man. I liked him. He was cool.
Yeah, I've always been a big Will Clark fan. I love it. His swing and Ken Griffey Jr.'s swing are my two favorite swings ever. I always loved watching Will Clark. There was something so smooth and poetic about it. It was beautiful.
No, my favorite swing is now Aldis Garcia because he owned Aldis Garcia. El Bombi is now the mayor of Houston, Texas, because we own y'all assets. So just the way he swings. He is so confident in his swing. When he hits that ball, he just stands there and watches it. Just watches it go, and then he decides to run. It's just, it's so cool to see. But, I'm a big fan of Garcia. So,
Yeah, so me and Tex are going to be battling out for the runner-up spot right now. How many weeks is the season now? I'm setting my lineups, but I'm not really paying much attention to.
I believe it's a standard 16, I think. I'm not sure.
Right now, I still have a few moves I have to make. I might make a move on Kyle Pitts. I don't know yet. But right now, you're projected to beat me 117 to 102. So,
right.
So when I win, will that be considered an upset? Or is it? I don't think it would be considered an upset. I mean, we're both 5-2. I mean, I figured that we're probably as evenly matched.
Right.
Yeah. And if you play a fancy, you never really hit your projections on the nose. I mean, sometimes you're kind of
no.
But they're always your projected score and your final score are always something kind
of different. I will say this though: the cream always rises to the top. 3 out of the 4 people that were in the championship for the D-Road League last year are 1, 2, 3 right now. You, me, and TSS. So the cream always rises, right? So it is what it is. It's all good. It's all in fun. You know what I mean?
That it does. Before we get out of here, Tex, tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, we'll be updating a little bit as we're live going on because we have a stream tomorrow night, but I'm sure me and you will be messaging back and forth about it, watching it. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going to Buffalo to play the Buffalo Bills. Who do you got on Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime?
Oh, give me Bills by 10. I think they have their, one of their bounce back redemption games, and Josh Allen goes off for 3 or 4.
I'm thinking on it. I think Buffalo's going to win, but I'm wondering if I want to make this my upset special because I feel like Baker Mayfield is a little bit better in Tampa Bay than a lot of people thought he would be. I mean, look, he's
solid down there.
They're 3-3 in Tampa Bay, and they're 4-3 in Buffalo. So I mean, record-wise, they're pretty close. Buffalo has not been the team that we had expected them to be this year. They've struggled at times. They honestly, I think a lot of last year they kind of did not display the Buffalo swagger that we thought they would. I mean, I think a lot of it came from the Patriots dynasty finally crumbling to ashes, and Buffalo was there to kind of just be the class of the league. But now you've got Miami, so they can't just run away with a not so great division the way that New England did for so long. Let's see. Right now, Buffalo has a 79% chance of winning the game, 79% to 21%. So, I don't know. I kind of want to say Tampa Bay just to kind of make it my upset spoiler. Here's what I'll do. Since you're picking Buffalo, I'll take Tampa Bay by 4.
Tampa by 4, and I've got Buffalo by 10.
Like you're probably
we'll see what shakes out.
I'll take Tampa by 4. I feel like if Tampa's going to win, it's going to be a closer game. It's not going to be a blowout unless Josh Allen gets hurt in the first quarter and things all go to hell.
I only say Buffalo by 10 because Josh Allen, he's such a good quarterback one week, and then the next, it looks like he couldn't hit the broadside of a bar. I think he gets his stroke back a little bit this week. And, playing at home, that gives them a little bit of boost. And like I said, am I confident by 10? No, but I think it could happen. So I'll go ahead and say Buffalo by 10. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pick the opposite just to make it fun. I'm going to say Tampa Bay by 4.
Tampa by 4, Buffalo by 10. That'll be cool. We'll come back next week and see who's the John Madden of the podcast here.
Boom! You see right here with Baker Mayfield hit a touchdown.
Brett
Favre. You know who threw a great ball? Brett Favre.
Oh, God bless John Madden.
John Madden. I
love that.
John Madden, Pat Summerall. If that wasn't like one of the best booths in NFL history.
Oh man, Pat Summerall called so many Cowboy games. Man, I miss that guy. He was so cool. I love that dude. I hated to see him go. That was horrible.
Yeah, guys, John Madden, Pat Summerall make every look. Al Michaels is out there doing it. He's doing the Amazon Prime Amazon Prime games on Thursday nights.
Yeah.
But and Al Michaels is he's been a hell of a commentator for a long time too. I mean, even going all the way back to Miracle on Ice and stuff like that. That very famous call it's a piece of sports legend. But yeah, it's Al Michaels. But Summerall and Madden. I mean, that was the commentating crew for the better part of 2 decades. God, it was so great to listen to those guys call games.
So many memories.
Even if your team was losing, those guys would just their voices alone would make the football gods happy. So you were like, okay, I got Madden Summerall, I'm good. But
I'll never forget those Thanksgiving Day games with Pat Summerall and Madden on the call, and Madden handing turkey legs out to offensive and defensive linemen. It's just
the turducken
memories, man.
The turducken. The turkey duck chicken. Oh man, those are the days. Those are the days. Those are good football days. Those are good football days.
Oh yeah, hell yeah.
But go down the comments below. Let us know what you guys think. Tampa Bay Buffalo. Who do you got in Thursday Night Football on Amazon? We're gonna go ahead and wrap things up now. Thanks to my good friend, the Shapes of Lone Star State, my man Tex. What do you got going on, my friend?
Oh, we got Terrifier tomorrow night here on the channel. If you're not subscribed already, please do, because I'm going to be professing my love and how great Art the Clown is, and it'll be great. So y'all come hang out.
As Tex said, we will be back here tomorrow, again celebrating our 500 subscribers, but also talking about Terrifier, a movie that I know that him and Jeremy have been wanting to sink their teeth into literally for quite some time now. I actually got a chance to sit and watch this the other day. I will give you my thoughts on it as well, and maybe sometime down the line we'll do Terrifier too. I am thinking that we may have to call off the stream, maybe even next week. I don't know. What is it? It's November 1st to go see Terrifier 2 at the theaters. I don't know. We'll talk about that eventually.
I'm curious I want to go see that trailer.
Yeah, come back here tomorrow night to hear us talk about the 2016 film Terrifier. Are you a fan of Art the Clown? Come back here tomorrow. We're going to talk about it. And then don't forget, we got Five Nights at Freddy's coming up. I don't know if we're going to do that on the 31st. I kind of doubt it. I may have to switch the day for that one. But I'm looking forward to going to see that this weekend. I'm sure Jeremy and Rachel are probably going to go see it this weekend. They're really excited. So's Brooding Gamer. I know he's excited to see it. My kids all want to go see it.
I'm going to take the kids to go see it. They're excited. So we'll be seeing it at some point, before Halloween. So it'll be fun.
So hopefully after Terrifier, I will have a date set in stone for the Five Nights at Freddy review. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Again, thank you guys so much for getting us to 500 subscribers. I will look at the schedule and work out the charity stream. I'm thinking right now my idea is I was going to do a New Year's Eve hangout stream. I may just do it then. We'll get started at like 7 o'clock. And we'll just go through until all the time zones in the U.S. have hit New Year's. We'll have a drink at midnight for all the time zones. We'll try to get some other people to come in here and hang out and party. And all donations that we get through Stream Elements is what I use now. All the donations from Stream Elements will go towards the Abandoned Pet Project. They help get animals that have been abandoned by their owners and stuff like that. They help get them medical treatment. They help get them rehomed. It's a fantastic organization to work with. I'm really excited to try to do something for them. So thank you guys again for getting us up to 500 subs. It's a big step for us as a channel. And again, thank you to you, Tex. Thank you to Jeremy, to Cora, to Aaron a couple times.
Happy to be here.
Gamer's been on. Night over at the Night Watch Zone has been on, and he's helped to kind of pimp us out to his viewers as well. Nick from Lost River Drive-In was on here the other couple weeks ago talking with us about Exorcist. I mean, there's a great film fan community that we've kind of ingrained ourselves into, and a lot of really great people. So go to the description below, look up some of these guys. There's some gamers down there like Casey and Rose and all those guys. Drew's down there doing his gaming stuff now. Go check out all the guys in the description below. You've also got guys like Heistman Defoe's channel is in there. Ray Rollins is down there. Go check out all these channels. These are all really cool people, really cool creators, and they've been a big part of the growth of this channel and how it's evolved over the last couple of years. So thanks again for getting us up to 500 subscribers. We are very, very thankful. We will see you guys tomorrow night breaking down Terrifier. Until then, adios. Go Niners.
Go Cowboys.
Who they Cowboys? Is that what you guys say? Who they?
Don't the Saints say who they? We say we them boys,
that's weird because the Bengals say who day, and the Saints say who they, and I'm like, I don't get it. You couldn't have come up with something a little more original.
Well, no, wait. Is Saints who dat or who day? They be one of those.
Yeah,
who dat? Yeah.
It's just silly.
Either way, yeah.